Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm back. I'm going to try to do a kind of a love reading today. I was thinking I would do a twin flame reading, but I think I'm just going to make it more of a general thing, like just a love reading, like for those people who are wanting a relationship and wondering where it is or wanting to know what's going on. So I think I'm figuring this out. So we're going to see how it goes. But I think what I'm going to do is kind of do the same, similar thing as other readers do, where we'll look at what's going on for the divine feminine and the divine masculine who are single and just kind of wanting to find each other, or kind of lost in finding each other, or maybe you know who your person is and you're just kind of waiting for them to come around and wake up. I tend to feel like that's where I'm at. It's like, I feel ready. What's the heck's going on with you? But we know if we're not in it yet, then there's more work for us to look at too. There's something that that there's a growth piece for us in that, right? So there's something about that time when we're just kind of in between relationship and we're waiting for the next. It's a raising of our vibration. It's a looking at what it is that it is that we need to shift and change within us. And sometimes it's just about learning to know how to be safe within yourself and give to yourself what you need. So I'm going to do this. Obviously, this is not going to resonate for everyone because, there's so many people. Well, I'm growing so many people. I almost have 300 people now that are watching me, which I'm so excited about. But that's growing, right? And so there's a lot of people. Even if there was only 5 people, it wouldn't resonate for everyone necessarily, because it's not everybody's story. But I get the feeling that there's a collective that's growing, and I think that people are finding, the readers that support them match them. So I'm hoping and feeling that the people who follow me are going to match my energy, and so what I have to offer is hopefully going to match for you. So yes, so this is a collective reading. Hopefully it matches. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. You'll find there's plenty of people out there that I'm sure you'll find the message that feels right to you and that matches you. So let's ask about what's going on with the divine feminine and the divine masculine in this collective, and what's happening with all of that. And I am going to, I think the way I'm going to work it is I'm going to do a typical Celtic cross spread and just see what information comes up with that being the question. Excuse me. Cards out. Love when you do readings and you have a specific question, how the cards just really match the energy of the question. There's obviously like different soul connecting cards here. So I mean soulmate connecting cards, which is so fun, right? When it all comes out that way. Which is why I love the cards. I started reading. I got my first deck in 1987 and just started playing with them, didn't know much about it. And the things that popped along the way was like, oh my gosh, I look at this, makes total sense to what's happening. Or I read for a friend and they're kind of, or maybe even a stranger that was just a coworker and I didn't know that much about them. And then I got all this information from looking at the cards. So I adore the cards. I have such a fun time with them. So if you haven't played with them, if you haven't learned, I suggest, if you're interested, grab yourself a deck and just start playing and starting to learn the different messages. It's just fun to see how they pop. So getting back to our reading, I can go on and that's the problem, is I can talk and talk. So I have to be careful of that. I'm feeling like I'm getting to feel more comfortable with all of you. And so you're getting to see a little bit more of me. So at the base of the reading is the Magician. And for me, this card, I mean, I don't always read the cards the way the traditional reading. I've come to find my own way of interpreting and reading them. So I understand that I might say something that's might be a little off from the way that the traditional reading is. Kind of just go with it with me. It's just my way of reading. You'll figure your own way out too as you learn, as you do your thing, right? Whatever it is that your divination tool is. So get back to it. The magician for me is that it's about what it is that we've set our intention to is there's a lot of power behind it, right? So as a magician, things happen. Well, that's kind of the energy that we're in. So that's an interesting energy and with this question. So it feels to me like there's a lot of support for movement toward the divine counterparts finding each other. My understanding and my feeling about divine counterparts and the energy of that there's been a period of time where many people have been in separation or have maybe made a connection to somebody that they know feels like their divine counterpart, but they haven't actually come together. A lot of the twin flame experiences. I feel like that my intuition has told me about my own twin flame path is that there's a timing about all of it. And there's not only a timing because of our own growth and our own things that we're learning as we're in separation, as we're doing our work, but there's also a timing within the planet. And when the energies of the planet are going to be ready to have a divine connection, that level of divine connecting throughout the planet. Because when two individuals, the divine male and masculine and the divine feminine, come together, they are raising the vibration just by the love connection that they have. They're raising the vibration of the planet, and the planet needs to be ready for that level of energy shift, which we're getting to. It's like every day we're getting closer and closer to receiving more and more love, even though it doesn't always look that way. The changes that are happening are about the vibration raising, and so everything's getting shaken up as a result, including ourselves and our ability to get ready for having more divine love in our lives. So magic happening. This is the soul connection from the past. Somebody, and I don't only read it from the past in this life, I read it from the past lives. So someone who is a soul connection, someone who is, so this is a 6 of Cups, someone who is, a part of your soul family, a divine soulmate in some way. So interesting. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we were asking about, and here it is. This is what shows up. So that's what this reading is moving about. What's in the present. And this, I almost am feeling like I thought maybe I would get a reading more of, this is the masculine, this is the feminine. This feels almost like a reading that is about both people, where what they're individually working on. So this is the 2 of Wands, and this feels to me like there's some choices being made, and it's choices about what's leading you toward your divine path. So both people are in the process of their own choices, and they may be very different as far as how that looks, but feels to me like the divine masculine is doing more of the work of connecting to spirit and bringing that into the physical. It feels to me like the divine feminine is learning how to bring her spiritual essence into the physical. So it's kind of the opposite. They match each other in that way. So it's like, how as a divine feminine, are you choosing paths that are more of who you are spiritually in the world? So how are you acting in the world as a spiritual being, but balancing it out? So an example of that is, are you in a job that matches who you are spiritually, or do you need to make some shifts in that way? Are you living where you need to live, and does that match you physically, or do you need spiritually, or do you need to change the physical? And I think the opposite is true for the masculine. I think the masculines are more comfortable in the physical and moving along in the physical, although it's similar. but how are they making choices to start to open up to more of what matches them spiritually? And that may be the same thing, changing jobs, changing places that they live, changing relationships that they're in. But the two are doing the same. So these are choices about how are we moving forward towards what matches us? Where is our divine path? And the other card that I have I do two cards in the present, is the High Priestess. So this is just, I feel like following your very deepest knowing, your deepest intuitive path. And I feel that, again, this is with these two cards together, it's like, how do you go on your path in the way that is in your highest divine, following that divine path, divine intuitive knowing. And it's also starting to become aware of like what hasn't been seen. What is it that you haven't noticed? What have maybe you been in denial about? And that coming to clarity. So I think both individuals are really working on that. And what's crossing them both is the Knight of Wands. And so this is the movement towards, what is it turns you on? I see the wands. What is it that turns you on? What is it that's your passion? What is it that drives you? What is it that you're wanting? And this is movement. This is movement toward that. So it's crossing the two. So it's still like there's some healing or some things that need to be decided for that movement to happen, but it's there. Overseeing the reading is the Death card. So we're in the middle of this major transformation, not just as individuals, not just as counterparts, but as the world. So we're in the major shift in consciousness right now. So this is the death of the old and the moving into the new chapter. So I feel like that's overseeing. This is the overseeing card. So that's overseeing this coming together of the two. It's like the timing of things. The shift needs to happen, the shift from the old to the new. And I think the eclipse really helped to kind of move that energy along for us. And then the Eight of Wands. I love this card. I don't know that I interpreted it like anyone else does, but I have a real fondness for this card because for me, it feels like really fast moving energy, almost like a tornado and getting swept up into the tornado, or getting swept off your feet. So I like it because I feel like in a few months' time, that things really shift very quickly. So this is April, May, June. Like by June, I feel like you should be feeling or sensing some kind of movement, some kind of clarity, some kind of understanding about your relationship issues or concerns that you didn't have before. And it starts to, synchronicity starts to happen where things start to make sense. We have the 10 of Cups moving towards that happy home, happy family. Lots of positive energy about movement here, which is really fun. So for whoever is the collective that I'm reading for, it seems that there's some real movement towards getting what it is that you're wanting in that way. The Ace of Wands. That is that movement, that new beginning toward that passionate connection, that passionate whatever it is that turns you on feeling, right? So yay. So there is some movement for that too. The Four of Pentacles, to me this feels like, and I'm reading it, I don't always read the same, but this feels to me like there is a lot of support. So in the physical, so the pentacles are the physical, there's a lot of support for this movement to happen. There's a lot of support in the physical. The Page of Pentacles is a new beginning and giving birth to something new in the physical. So it does feel like there is an opportunity here this year anyway. I don't know timing very well. I feel like most of us don't know, but it feels like there's movement towards new birth. There's a Death card and the Rebirth card. This is a giving birth card. So it feels like there's a shift that's happening within this dynamic that's moving one towards that. And then we have this very interesting, I always put 3 cards at the end to kind of balance out the final part. And I think these 3 cards together kind of talk about the whole thing, right? So there's still a little bit of stuff going on. So this, I think, is the divine feminine. I think this is the divine. This is the divine feminine in the sense that she's the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is the one that's connected to spirit, able to see. You know, she's very psychic. She's very passionate. She's moving in that way. And then the knight, the King of Discs. What is it? King of Pentacles in this deck. um, very much in the physical, knows how to make things happen in the physical, very grounded. So you can see how the two kind of balance each other out. And I think that he's trying to I feel like this card also represents trying to act in the physical, you know, to try to make things happen in the physical. But then you have this card between the two, and this is the Five of Wands, which is that disconnect, right? The disconnect that's there, the not quite getting it together, not quite being together. So it seems that there's still a bit more work for for the two to actually come together. But there's a lot of energy in this reading, a lot of energy in this reading that's saying that there is movement toward that. So it's not, it doesn't feel like there's an unfoldment that's happening as we're moving toward and through this reading that I know for myself, and I know for a lot of the divine feminines that have been kind of waiting for that masculine to show up, or maybe some of the divine masculines. And that's not gender, that's just, you know, how you identify. It seems that our divine feminine energy is more the one that seems to be waiting and kind of, you know, like let's show up. And I might, you know, that's just my perspective. That's where I've seen it. I think this is an affirmation for us as those that are waiting or wondering or thinking that nothing's moving or that's kind of stuck, that there is movement, and it might be behind the scenes. It might be something that we're not seeing quite yet, but there is movement. And so let's pull one card to just finish up the relationship reading and see what we're getting. Okay. Synchronicity. Your prayers and questions are being answered by synchronistic events. Notice them in order to increase their flow. So that, I think, for me, and I think for a lot of people on this path waiting, there's always these little signs, these little pushes in a certain direction, these little knowings. And I feel like this is for both counterparts. This is for the divine feminine and the divine masculine, kind of pushing you along on that path, knowing which direction to take, following the signs, it's like, I always feel like it's the yellow brick road, right? Following the yellow brick road, figuring out what is it that where we're going next. So that's my singles reading, that's my twin flame reading, that's my soulmate reading, however you want to, you know, feel it for yourself. I hope it resonated. If it didn't, like I said, find some, you know, there's so many people that are doing such great work on YouTube. Find somebody where it does resonate. Don't make this work for you. Yeah, so I'm Carolyn Perry. I offer you know, personal readings. I offer past life regression healing work. So if you're interested in talking to me more, wanting to know more, please definitely send me a message. I'd love it if you'd like, subscribe, and I'd love to hear from you. If there's anything that you, any feedback that you would like to give, I love that. Great. I hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the reading. I'm enjoying doing this for you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.